Oh, okay, I think we're live. Hello, everyone. We're gonna give everyone a few minutes to come in. Hope everyone's doing okay. We're here with Cece.
Hi, everyone.
This is Cynthia with my hands as far apart as I can be. Okay, so we don't have anyone yet, but that's okay. Still give it some time.
Can wait a little longer.
Okay, who's here? Okay, we've got 2 people. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
We're gonna wait a couple minutes for more people to come. Cece's just finishing up. While we're waiting, we have the recipe in the description. Or my new ones are here. Key cards. Okay. d2e.co/cc curry, taught by this Cece. Not spelled the same way, but cc curry. cc curry. Okay, I think we have 8.
Awesome.
Okay, I think we can get started.
Nice. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to our Facebook Live cooking demo. Very excited to be teaching again today. For those of you who may have missed the recipe, it is d2e.co/cc curry, so you can follow along with the recipe. This is a really, really great, fast, flavorful recipe. It's amazing for meal prep as well. If you ever just want to, just do your prep beforehand and then freeze it. It's a great recipe for that. It's great for just putting on your dinner rotation so that so you have something prepared already. It's an awesome recipe for all of that. So to kick it off, just want to cook with our beloved onion and garlic. I mean, I pretty much use this for every savory recipe. I think you've seen me use these for every recipe so far, but I just cannot go past onion and garlic. They're just so ideal for everything. So I'm going to put the pan over here on medium heat, and I'm just going to put the onions in and basically just going to let them sweat. So what we want to do is make sure that they become translucent, and you won't be able to tell, but you want to be able to smell the aroma. That basically tells you that the onions are ready. Now, onions are amazing. They're a prebiotic. They're great for your gut. They're also incredible for your lungs. They're really good at drawing toxins out of the lungs, so great for any respiratory illness. And some of you may know, I actually often use them to clear infections. I actually used it recently to clear an ear infection, which was an interesting experience to have half an onion strapped to my ear for several hours, but it worked, which is amazing. So they're really, really amazing. One tip that I have, if you're someone who is just really in a hurry, this recipe is geared towards people who want a hearty meal, but it may be, you really just want it to work quickly. So a trick is you can put a little salt on your onion, and what the salt does is it extracts the water from the onion and it raises the boiling point of the water so that the frying time or the sauteing time is quicker. So this would reduce your saute time from maybe 5 or 6 minutes, or depending on, on your stovetop, to maybe a couple of minutes, which doesn't seem like much, but the minutes add up when you're very, very busy and you want to cook quickly. So I'm just continuing to saute the onion, and when you just start to smell the aroma slightly, you can add your garlic in there. So Just putting the garlic in. Garlic, again, is an excellent prebiotic. And there are so many studies. I'm such a science geek. I check the medical and science journals like every week, basically. And I've been reading so many studies that say prebiotics are potentially even more important than probiotics, which is amazing. And there are so many plant prebiotics that are readily available. And, you know, these are really easy to obtain. Onion and garlic. So
what, Cece, what's the difference between a prebiotic and a probiotic?
I'm so glad you asked that, Cynthia. So the probiotic is basically, you know, the good bacteria in your gut, the good microflora. But the prebiotic is what the probiotics actually feed on. So if you imagine, say, a Pac-Man game, everyone remembers how to play Pac-Man. Mm-hmm. Some of you may still be playing Pac-Man now. So when the little Pac-Man, when that little guy is coming along and eating it, mm-hmm. So the food is the prebiotic and the little hungry man is the probiotic. So the probiotic feeds on the prebiotic. So the prebiotic is super important because if you don't have anything for the good bacteria to feed on, then it won't necessarily stay in your system. So in your gut especially. So I can start to smell it. And it's starting to sweat a little. You can't probably hear the sizzle, but there's that nice sizzle. And some of you may be wondering why I didn't add any oil. Now, sometimes when I'm working with onions and garlic, I do add a little bit of veggie broth, and also I do add some oil sometimes. But the reason I didn't add oil for this recipe is because we're using coconut milk in the curry. So you already have, it's a reasonably heavy recipe. So just to reduce that heaviness, I leave out the oil. But you're very welcome to cook with oil, to cook your onions and garlic with the oil as well if you would like to. It's basically just to keep it from sticking to the bottom of the pan. So I've got these sizzling. Everybody see those? And if you're someone who finds that cutting onions is kind of laborious and emotional, you can also, I've heard that you can put an onion into the fridge or freezer for half an hour before you chop it, which helps. Probably the freezer is more effective. I have also heard that chewing gum while you chop onions can help too. I actually have not tried either of those, but
tell us in the comments about what's your favorite.
Yeah.
What's the best way to cut back on the tears?
If you have a technique,
we want to hear it.
Yeah. Or if you want to, again, if you're a busy person and you want to do all your meal prep at once and you want to use garlic a lot, I use a lot of garlic. One thing that is great to do, I use garlic and ginger often together. So what I do is I mince the garlic and ginger, then I put it into ice cube trays with a little bit of water. Just, you make the ice cube tray as normal and then you put your garlic and ginger into each cube and then you freeze it. And if you're in a hurry, if you're cooking throughout the week, you can just pop the ice cube in there and you've got your garlic and ginger flavor already in there. So that's another tip to speed things up for you. All right. Okay, I can really see the onions are sweating. Mm-hmm. That's what we want to see.
Yep.
So now I'm going to add my spices.
Oops.
All right.
What do we got?
So first one I'm going to add is turmeric. And you can actually tell that I use a lot of turmeric because the spoon is stained yellow. So just a word of warning, when you use turmeric, it will stain everything golden.
Yeah.
Everything in my kitchen is golden, basically. But it's so amazing for you. It's anti-inflammatory. It has this great active compound called curcumin, which is incredible for reducing inflammation in the body. So the combination of turmeric and ginger together actually is a real inflammation fighter.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm going to add some ground ginger. You can also use fresh ginger if you want to mince some ginger fresh, or you want to use that ice cube technique I just taught you. You can do that as well. I would probably use, if you want to substitute fresh ginger for the ground, I would probably use about an inch piece of fresh ginger and mince it up nice and fine. And then I'm going to add coriander. Now, I add a lot of coriander, and for those of you who have watched previous demos where I've used coriander, you'll know that there is a genetic reason why some people don't like the taste of coriander. This is basically cilantro seed or coriander seed that's ground up, and it does definitely still have that distinct cilantro flavor that a lot of people just cannot handle, and it's genetic. So if you are one of those people, I would recommend substituting with cumin, or you can even use your, a curry powder. We sell a lot of different curry powders downstairs or at all of our stores. I'm upstairs from the King Street store at the moment, but we sell a lot of curry powders. If you want a more Asian type curry, you can use a curry paste as well. But this is actually my favorite curry spice combo. The turmeric, the ginger, and the coriander together is my favorite combo. And then the last one that I add, just to give it a little bit of heat, is the cayenne. So
it's interesting because I know, Cece, you're not a spicy person, but you do like the taste of cayenne.
Yeah, I do. I just find that, often actually I do get some, if I eat really spicy food, especially chilies, I do get some irritation in my stomach, but I've never had that with cayenne. So that's why I can use it a little more. I still can't really handle a lot of heat, but I definitely can handle cayenne better than the others. And actually, cayenne is, it's funny because cayenne is actually, I guess, stronger if you're using it, if you're using the same amount of cayenne compared to other chilies. But because I don't use too much, it ends up being totally fine. So I just put a little bit of cayenne in there. And then I'm going to add some Okinawan sweet potato. I'm just going to put the pan on pause for a moment because I do want to show you how fine I cut the Okinawan sweet potato. And the reason is the Okinawan sweet potato is, if you've cooked with potatoes or sweet potatoes before, you'll know that when you cook them really large, in like really, really big cubes, it takes a really long time to cook them. And that's why I'm trying to make them smaller so that when you're actually cooking it, it doesn't take so long. So I'm going to put my first batch in here.
And it's important too to also try to cut them consistently the same size so that they all cook at the same rate. That's
a great point, Cynthia, because you may pick, you might, when you're taste testing it, and sometimes you actually have to put a little bit of muscle into it. So there we go. And then I basically just slice it nice and reasonably thin. And then I slice them this way. You can also do another half if you like, but it's totally up to you. I just find that this allows them to cook so much faster. And honestly, I can't really name a substitute for Okinawan sweet potato. It's so incredible. I mean, any kind of sweet potato would be fine, even a regular potato. But I love Okinawan sweet potato. Just that color. The color in Okinawan sweet potato is because of the same antioxidant that blueberries have. It's called anthocyanin. So the anthocyanin is actually present in higher quantities in the Okinawan sweet potato than even blueberries. So Okinawan sweet potato actually has more antioxidants than blueberries, which blueberries are usually known for their antioxidants.
And I feel like, Okinawan sweet potato, that is available all year long. Fresh blueberries. I mean, frozen blueberries are fine, but if you wanted it fresh, it's not all year long. Exactly.
So I'm going to turn my heat back on to medium and just give it a little bit of a stir. I just want to basically try and distribute the potato and the sweet potato and kind of coat it in the spices as well. You'll see some might be on the bottom. What you can do, if you get some stuck on the bottom, you can just add a little bit of vegetable broth or oil or whatever you're using, and then kind of scrape it off a little bit as you go, and that helps to bring it off the bottom. So I'm just coating it like this. And the other great thing, Okinawan sweet potato is not just high in antioxidants, but even regular vitamins and minerals, super high in vitamins A and C, and a really great source of fiber, of B6, potassium, iron. It's incredible. So we're so lucky to have, you know, Okinawan sweet potatoes readily available. So I encourage you to use them as much as possible. Okay, so you can see that most of the spice is pretty well coated. Yeah. So now I'm going to start to add my other ingredients. Now, I'm going to be adding garbanzo beans, but honestly, you can choose whatever you want. I'm basically adding the garbanzo beans as a protein source. So you could even add, if you wanted to add a pop of green to your curry, you could add broccoli for protein. You could add tofu if you prefer. You could add a different type of bean, but I am going to add the garbanzo beans. And if you've watched these demos before, you know I don't like to waste the garbanzo bean juice, which is better known as aquafaba. So I usually just put it over a bowl and I drain the chickpeas this way, just so that I get, I don't know if you can see that. I just put a colander over a bowl and I drain the chickpeas, and then you can also rinse them as well to get rid of all the aquafaba.
Can we see the juice?
Yeah! Liquid gold!
Don't get rid of it.
Don't get rid of it. You can do so much with it. In fact, if you use that, and if you don't want to use vegetable broth in this recipe, you can actually use aquafaba, and it will be slightly thicker in the consistency, but not dramatically. It will still definitely work. So now, any questions so far, by the way?
Yes, I have one question.
Yes.
Is, have you made this in an Instapot before?
I most definitely have made it in. Great question. I use my Instant Pot all the time.
You guys don't know, but Cece is the Instant Pot queen.
Yes. I love the Instant Pot family. I have like a big Instant Pot, then I have a small Instant Pot. So the big Instant Pot is for curries, stews. The small Instant Pot is for quinoa and rice. And then I have an Instant Pot blender as well.
Wow.
A lot of people don't even know an Instant Pot blender exists.
So.
But I found it, and it's great. So yes, have made it in the Instant Pot. If you want to make it in the Instant Pot, the next step, you know, I'll get to that step and then I'll tell you, because this you can do in the Instant Pot on the saute function. So you just do everything that I'm doing here, but it's on saute mode. And then I'll let you know when it changes between the stovetop and the Instant Pot.
You know what? I'll maybe we'll put in the instructions for the Instapot. Since I'm sure a lot. I mean, I got one for Christmas.
Yeah.
I've used it like nowhere near as much as Cece. I'm not sponsored by them.
Yes, neither am I. Just by the way,
just
no monetary benefit from this. I just love them. But so what I'm doing now is I'm adding some vegetable broth, roughly about a cup.
And is this one of those times when you can substitute your vegetable broth for your
the aquafaba? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It will have a slightly different taste, but you know, it's not super dramatic. I mean, if you've tasted vegetable broth, it's not a very, very strong kind of flavor. Yeah. It's just to give a little more flavor as opposed to adding water. And the aquafaba does the same. Yeah. It adds a little bit of a different flavor.
And I mean, the stuff that you put in there already are very strong flavor-wise. Turmeric, the ginger, the garlic, the onions. So you probably won't ever notice if you use the vegetable broth or the aquafaba or if you just need water.
That's exactly it. Yes, you hit the nail on the head, Cynthia. And the next thing I'm going to add is coconut milk. So don't be alarmed. The coconut milk may look kind of solid at the top and really, really thick.
Let me get in there.
Like this. It often does look like this. And all that is the fats from the coconut milk have just solidified at room temperature. Yeah. So they just they solidify and they look like really, really solid. Yeah. But what happens is when you poke through, the liquid will actually come out.
Yeah.
So you can
that's what happens when the coconut milk is in a cold place, like our stores. So
yes. Yes.
So even at home, sometimes mine is completely liquid, but
in hot weather, it definitely will melt. But okay.
And we want to say that it's the coconut milk that's in the can, not in a carton like you eat with cereal or.
Yes, that's a great point. You know what? Let me show you the difference because we do actually happen to have one here. Yeah. So this is a coconut milk that you'll also find. This is in our usually in our long life milk section, our plant-based milk section. We also sell them in the chill department as well, but it's basically to have with cereal, as Cynthia mentioned. If you use that one, you will have a vastly different flavor and consistency. So definitely go for this one. It should say coconut milk. I use the unsweetened one actually just because coconut often has its own sweetness, so I find that you don't really need to add any extra sweetness to it for savory recipes.
Yeah, because what are the ingredients in that? That's just coconut milk, right?
Coconut, water, guar gum. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Three ingredients.
And this one is coconut milk, guar gum, vitamin and mineral blend, and water.
Yes.
So it has additional water added to this, so it doesn't come out as thick as we saw.
Right. The water content of that one is far greater than the water content of this one. So you'll see the difference if you start to cook with both of them. So now I'm going to bring it to a boil, and usually this is the point where in the Instant Pot you can actually turn it on to pressure cook mode. So on the stove top, you're going to add a little bit of salt. So I want you to taste it because cooking is about tasting, experiencing, and adjusting to your flavors. And then you add a little bit of salt depending on what your taste is. You can always add salt later as well. It's not really going to kill it if you don't add enough salt now and you add it later. But now you're going to simmer it for about 20 minutes. It should be cooked in 20 minutes just because the sweet potatoes have been cut so small. So this is where the size of your sweet potatoes will determine how long this recipe takes you. Yeah. So if you have cut them a smaller size, it should only take about 20 minutes. So now I'm going to put the lid on, or I'm going to pretend to put the lid on because we're actually going to pause this. But before I pause, let me tell you Instant Pot owners how to do this on the Instant Pot. You would then turn your Instant Pot to pressure cook, and you would set it at 10 minutes. So what happens is your Instant Pot will take several minutes to build up pressure, and then it will cook then for 10 minutes, and then it will release. And you can do natural release, or you can turn it off straight away. Pretty much the 10 minutes will allow it to cook. Yeah.
Let us know if you want to see like a Instant Pot tutorial, because when I first tried my Instant Pot, which was just like in February this year, I was very unsure about using it.
It can be very confusing.
Yeah.
So for this,
wow, we're bubbling here already.
We are. So we've brought it up to a boil, and now I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. And then this is where I would put a lid on it.
It smells amazing. Like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, wow. It smells so great. Good. The coconut, the turmeric.
Yes.
Yum.
Yes. I love the smell of curry.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't be alarmed if your curry, so what happens is as the Okinawan sweet potatoes are cooking, sometimes they can discolor a little. So they let off this kind of bluish color, and when they do that, it can kind of change the color of the curry. So if it looks kind of brownish when you have finished after the 20 minutes, do not be alarmed. This is what it will look like. And then what you want to do is now, this is already thick because the starches from the sweet potatoes have come out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn off the other one.
Maybe we'll switch the...
I don't know if this one will... We have an induction stovetop, so you have to cover the entire burner to be able to cook on it.
Oh.
So... Yes, this is what I'm going to use. This is our magic last ingredient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back on medium heat. Now you want to add the arrowroot starch right at the very end. The reason being, the arrowroot is great in that, sometimes when you use other starches, especially like cornstarch, it actually can influence the flavor of what you're cooking a little bit. Arrowroot has no flavor. It literally tastes like nothing. I don't recommend you trying it because it tastes really bland. I have tried it before. But it tastes like nothing. It doesn't influence the taste of your cooking, and it's such a great thickening agent. I often use this even when I'm making stir fries and things, something my boyfriend told me, he's Hawaiian, and he told me that here in Hawaii, everybody loves gravy. Everyone loves to thicken things and have a type of gravy. This is great for making gravy. So I'm using it now to thicken this little
Curry.
Yes, curry. I was like, what am I cooking at the moment? So what you can do, it really depends on what you prefer. You can either add this into a bowl and mix it with water into a paste and then put it in. That can sometimes reduce the clumps. But often I find that if you just stir it in like this and just stir very quickly, you'll see that it all starts to dissolve. And then I use a larger spoon to try and dissolve the rest of it and mix it in. So now I'm going to mix it all in, and you'll see that it thickens very, very quickly. But the reason you need to do it right at the end is if you actually keep the heat of the curry is what's activating the arrowroot. But if you keep it boiling for too long, the arrowroot will almost kind of unactivate in some ways. And so it really does take a while, but if you do put it on for too long, it starts to become thinner and it's not as thick as it was before. So I put it in right at the end. You can see it's already a lot thicker. You can even add more than this if you prefer it to be more thick, but I just find that the arrowroot is a great final step to get, and you can see the little yellow garlic pieces stained by the turmeric.
Yep, and I see that the sauce is like coating your spoon
much
more thickly.
Right,
too.
Exactly.
That's another good indicator as well.
Yes.
Oh, smells really good.
Yeah. So this is a great dish to, you can freeze this. You can put this into little containers and then just pop them out throughout the week and just heat them up. And, you can do whatever you like if you want to put this on a meal rotation. But it's just such a quick recipe. With me just, even with me just talking about it and everything, it's still only taken us less than half an hour.
Yeah.
But probably the longest thing in this recipe is actually chopping the sweet potatoes. That's probably it. But everything else is very, very fast.
Can you put some in there and I'll put it up close to the camera?
Great idea. Okay.
Oh, looks hearty. Yeah, I think the arrowroot and thickening up is very key because when you have watery curry, it's kind of the opposite effect of what you want in a curry, which is something hearty and homey.
Yes.
Oh gosh, it's hard to show you guys. Let me see. I'll try and do it that way.
It's just so packed with nutrients,
Can I have
this
a
curry.
spoon?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you. I just want to show you guys. Oh. Doesn't that look good? And then just put some like green onions on top
Green
for
onions,
little freshness.
Yeah, cilantro, parsley, any kind of herbs. And you can actually put so many different veggies in this curry. I mean, you can put greens, you can put bell peppers, you can put anything. I mean, it's a really versatile recipe. This is almost a foundational curry for you to add whatever kind of ingredients you want to it. I use this particular spice blend. I use it it's my favorite curry blend to cook. Just because it is really flavorful and it doesn't taste like a lot of curry powders that I've bought in the stores before. So yeah. Are there any other questions about any of the ingredients or the recipe, anything like that?
No, we do have a question to make sure to do the Instapot tutorial.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
Yes,
maybe we'll try it.
That.
Yeah, we'll try and do more of those, I think.
Yeah.
Now's the time to learn how to use that Instapot.
Yes, absolutely.
I know some of you probably still have it in the box.
Right.
So,
and it's so
take it out.
It's so handy. You can have, all your Instant Pots. Well, you probably don't have as many as I do. But you can have, I literally will have 2 Instant Pots going, and then I can still use the blender. It's just awesome. I love it. I'm definitely not getting paid to promote Instant Pot, but I want to encourage you to make use of yours if you have one because it's very, very valuable. Yeah.
And I think another good thing about the Instapot is that it's good for people who they don't feel confident as cooks.
Yes,
It really helps out a lot.
Exactly. Well, Just want to remind you that you can get all of these ingredients online if you want to shop for these online. For the recipe, if you want to follow along, it's d2e.co/cc curry, and I will update that recipe by this time tomorrow. If you want to check back tomorrow with the updates with the Instant Pot instructions, I will put those up there as well for those of you who are using an Instant Pot for this recipe. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us to cook our creamy coconut curry. You can use that coconut milk to add creaminess to any curry. Such a great versatile recipe. We're so happy that you were here to cook with us. So thanks everyone.
Bye.
Take care, stay safe and healthy.